Alrighty, so I did want to talk some Viking cap space, just total, basically, how can they clear it, and all of these will be provided by Over the Cap, just before anybody, it's like, actually, it's this number. All the numbers I got are from Over the Cap, so if they're wrong, it's on them. And they have it, so Minnesota's starting cap space is negative $8.6 million. Not good. So, cutting-wise, I think there are 3 players that are basically destined to get cut at this point. We're going to start with Shamar Stephen. Obviously, he wasn't good, so that one makes a ton of sense. They would save $3.75 million. A dead cap of 1.35 would incur. And then you also have Riley Reef. I don't think he played poorly. I think Riley Reef kind of played like Riley Reef, which to me has always been solid. I've seen a lot of things kind of say, he ain't solid, we need to get rid of him. I never really felt that way about him. I kind of think, like, in a way, he's underrated just because, well, everyone thinks he's garbage, and I think he's a solid, at least capable starting left tackle. But due to cap circumstances, they will basically be forced to cut him. And they would save $11.75 million, incurring $3.2 million in dead cap. Kyle Rudolph is the other one. And I know there might be some people being like, you trade Kyle Rudolph, he has some value. The numbers in terms of what they save don't change if he's cut or traded. So take that as you will. They will save $5 million while incurring $4.35 million in dead cap. So, overall, from those 3 players, they will gain $20.5 million while incurring $8.85 million in dead cap. The new space is now $9.9 million. So, there is still some work to be done, and kind of in the extension, restructure, and or like pay cut range that I think we're at least likely to hear about. I have Harrison Smith and Anthony Barr. Now, Harrison Smith is entering the last year of his contract. He has a cap hit of $10.25 million. Minnesota could straight up cut him and save $10.25 million. So I think an extension is well in order, where Minnesota could save a little bit of money, put some more years on him, as he is kind of going to be the leader of this back end, especially considering Anthony Harris, looming free agent, probably gone. So you kind of need a new leader in that back end, especially with such a young secondary group. So extension, I think, makes a ton of sense. He's been there forever. He is kind of like the leader of that team at this moment, at least defensively. And I kind of went a little conservative on what I think they would do. I'm kind of hoping for $4 million, but I put it at 3 because I think 3 is a pretty safe guess, where I'm not sure if he'll take 4 off. So $3 million for this year. Not really sure what the next year's would be, but I'm just talking about this year's cap. But so I think we can lower that down to 7.25 basically. And then Anthony Barr, this one's a little bit trickier because Barr does have a $15 million cap hit because ridiculousness happened when we signed him. And he did spurn the Jets. He agreed to the Jets, then he didn't agree to the Jets. He came back to Minnesota because he wanted to be in Minnesota because he likes it so much. So at that point, to me, I feel like he lost a lot of leverage. And so I have him actually taking a pay cut of $5 million. And there might be some people being like, that might be a little much. I don't think it is. And it's mostly because of the other looming free agent Minnesota has in Eric Wilson. So it would incur $7.8 million of dead cap to cut Anthony Barr. Excuse me. But they would get an immediate $7.2 million in cap relief. So essentially, you could cut him for $7.2 million and basically sign Eric Wilson for something similar to that and just use all the money that you just cut Barr for to sign Wilson. Now, I think if you're able to save $5 million, keep Barr, lose Wilson, that's probably a better way to go. Just from a cap perspective, at least. So, I think you could save at least $8 million from here. Ideally, I would like to try to get up to 10, but I'm not sure how feasible that is. Now, after all that, the new cap space would then be $17.9 million, which much better than negative 8.6. However, not the best. So, I have two names in kind of like a maybe category that I'm really not sure if they touch or not, but I feel like if they touch at least one of these, we could see them get into more of a 23, maybe even $25 million range on the high end. And that is Danielle Hunter. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a tweet a while back, basically right when he got the surgery. Ian Rappaport, I believe it was. Was it him or was it Schefter? It was one of the two. It's either him or Schefter. I forget which one. But he said, now Minnesota has a choice. They either need to make him the highest paid defender or trade him. Now, that's the only time I've seen that, before or since. So I really don't know how true or false that really is. And he has a cap hit of $17.25 million. Now, just from the outside looking in, what I think might have happened was you have Danielle Hunter making an average of $14.4 million on his contract. And now that players of the edge variety here are getting closer to like $30 million per season if they're really, really good, he could just say, hey, I see what's going on around here. I would like to have that since I am very good. And he is. So, what could have happened when they renegotiated his deal last year is they kind of maybe promised him the giant mega deal, and then all of a sudden he didn't play a snap in 2020. And I think that kind of muddies the water a bit, but I'm really not sure if they touch this or not. Now, in favor of extending him, if you want to look at that route, you could realistically do that. As per over the cap, once again, has Minnesota in 2022 having $48 million in cap space currently. That's the projection. So, you could realistically actually extend him, lower that cap hit quite a bit this year, and sneak it over into the next coming years. And that $48 million, by the way, is coming with a Kirk Cousins contract that has a $45 million cap hit. So, you could look at this in the future like, well, obviously, that would not be good. And you could potentially, I know there's going to be some people that hate this idea. You could extend Kirk again, lower the $45 million cap hit, gain potentially a ton more money, and all of a sudden, the fact that you really only have O'Neal as a big-name free agent, you can also just re-sign him this offseason, put it into 2022, and you're good to go. Now, the other one is Adam Thielen. Now, this one's a little odd, because at least with Hunter, you can come to like, well, there's a reason why this one would pop up. Adam Thielen, though, even though he's in his early 30s and is a wide receiver skill position, he's still producing. He had over 900 yards last year and 14 touchdowns. So clearly, he's still got something. But he has a $13.4 million cap hit, and they can save a bit of money this year, $8 million. And I think they could maybe rework that a little bit, but I think it's more for not this year. I don't think he's in any threatened territory to be cut this year or traded, just because, well, look what's behind him in Olabisi Johnson and Chad Beebe. It's like it's kind of a similar situation when it was him and Diggs. It's like, well, these two are really good, but after, we might as well not have receivers. So, don't think he's in that territory. But who knows about 2022 when he's another year older and maybe the production fell off a bit. So just for his own protection, he could rework his deal, lower his cap hit this year, kind of put more guaranteed money throughout it. because in 2022, Minnesota can save $10 million while incurring less than $4 million in dead cap. So cutting Adam Thielen in 2022, depending of what his production looks like, could be very, very real. So just for the sake of Adam Thielen maybe wanting a bit more security and protection, and the fact that he's, Minnesota Golden Boy, he may want to stay there and take the restructured deal. And at that point, I feel like they could maybe get, they'll definitely get somewhere between $20 and $23 million if they're able to do one of those two. If they're able to do both, probably get past 25. Not sure if they will. But overall, you can probably work with that. And is certainly a lot more workable than negative 8.6. But, yeah. I'd like to know your guys' comments down below. Good. Opinions, discuss. That's what they're there for. And, like and subscribing, super helpful. And until next time, I bid y'all adieu.